It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Welcome to another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen.
Hey.
And we're recording on Oscar Sunday. It is March 15th here in Minnesota. We're in the middle of a very scary snowstorm that everyone at work had to fucking scare me about all week. Just for us to get like 6 inches so far and some high winds. Everyone's crying and complaining about it. But aside from that, we already did our Oscars video that was posted recently of our predictions. We have our ballots still in front of... I still have mine in front of me just because I'm really antsy about it today. We'll talk about some movie news, some stuff from this past week. It was a little bit of a slow week for the two of us as we just kind of took a week off basically and just prepped for the Oscars. But with all that underway, Corey, how are you and what horrible fucking thing are we sipping today?
Fuck, we've been drinking a lot today. It's like 3:30 right now. At 11 we started drinking whiskey and Twisted Tea Lights and beers.
Fun drinks.
And right now we have a couple Buzz Balls. I have a pineapple jalapeno one. You've had chili mango.
Chili mango, which like I like spicy like that. This should be good to me. It's not. It hurts, and I like this is gonna be why I throw up later on tonight after Sinners wins Best Picture.
No, it's not.
I think who knows? I think I woke up with just a stupid amount of confidence this morning when I was like, yeah, I have a perfect ballot this year. Which, like, not every year I go into it having that confidence.
Oh, shit.
This year I do. This year I feel like I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna have a perfect.
You're not gonna do shit.
I'm gonna get 24 out of 24.
You're not doing fucking anything.
The show is gonna be 3 hours and 8 minutes long, and you're gonna suck my dick.
Fuck you.
So, I'm really excited. I'm gonna get my knob slobbed on by Corey.
This is what happens when we have 5 drinks going into an episode. We can't fucking do this. And we did have canes. I got some Cane's sweet tea, a large sweet tea. They didn't let me do a medium, so I got a fucking large. It's also March Madness Selection Sunday today. We have World Baseball Classic. USA's gonna fuck up Dominican Republic. Great day.
And we both don't work tomorrow. We're set up for a good night.
So anyways, we didn't watch that much, but yeah, just a few things this week.
Yeah, we had Undertone coming out this past week. I was able to see that in theaters. This is directed by Ian Tucson, this is his feature directorial debut, and I believe he's going to then go on to work within the Paranormal Activity franchise, doing like a light reboot potentially. With that, this film starring Nina Kiri and Adam DeMarco. It's mostly those two, as it is a host in this film, a host of a popular paranormal podcast that's becoming haunted by this terrifying recording that they're listening to on their kind of paranormal skeptic-like podcast. I went into this kind of just hoping for a good time. I feel like I submit myself to a lot of horror films in theaters just because I have a hope that I'm going to stumble upon a horror film like Late Night with the Devil, where I go in just, it's a small independent horror film. I've heard good things. I don't know what this is really going to be. I don't know much about the project. And then I went and saw that in film, and I love that movie. I kind of repetitively watch that movie now, and it's really worked into my horror, like, kind of cycle. I love that movie so much. But I'm always watching horror films. I get exposed to shitty ones like Whistle and Scream 7 and stuff like that, but I was really blown away by Undertone, thankfully. I went into this kind of just... Give me something good. I'm always wanting a horror film that will scare me, actually, and that's the thing I often harp the most about with horror movies today, is that I don't really get scared a whole lot. This one kind of rattled me a little bit. Like I did say at the top of this, it centers around these recordings on this Paranormal Skeptics podcast, and this use of sound within this film is why it works so well. You're hearing a lot of the movie and a lot of the kind of exposure to these potentially paranormal things and this entity. You're hearing a lot of it through the headphones of the main character. I'm sorry, we just had... I just saw...
You what?
I saw the fucking foam falling.
Oh, yeah, we have some soundboards that are not... They've been duct taped on for a year and a half. They don't stay together.
No adhesion.
And anyway, with 5 drinks in, it's not going to help when they fall off.
Anyway, this movie is a very audio-driven kind of experience. The the sound of everything is the scariest aspect of it. There's not a lot of, like, this movie keeps you in its back pocket a lot. It doesn't expose you to a whole lot of, like, the story. It's kind of a slow-moving 90-minute horror thriller based around these two people listening to kind of these podcast recordings that were sent into their show. And it just kind of unfolds, and gradually we get a little bit more piece by piece as to what's going on and how this story, this 10-chapter recording story that they're listening to, is now kind of bleeding over into their present life, the host's main life. I will say the movie is very slow, especially in the first, like, it's an hour and a half. The first hour, it's kind of repetitive. It is, all right, she's going to sit down, try to record this podcast with her co-host, and they'll listen to a recording. And then it's rinse and repeat a little bit. We'll do that a couple more times as we get sections of information at a time. The pacing is slow. I do think it works to the benefit of this movie just because once shit hits the fan, it really is. It's scary. It had me on the edge of my seat. There are some jump scares that didn't follow the typical kind of ramp up, bah, there it is, and then the de-escalation of it. This just really had a unique spin on basically some tropes, but just the way it really unfolds its story of this is told through sound. You're going to have to just, like, there are times in this movie theater I was like, oh my fuck. Like, I was like ducking a little bit. I really was kind of impressed by not only the sound, but just the horror elements within this film. I was really excited too. The film doesn't over-explain things. You get some backstory on this potential entity called, I think it was Abizu or Abizu, this entity that kills children and stuff like that, and how this mother-daughter kind of dynamic is important to the plot of the story, as this host is living in her mom's house, overseeing her as she's basically going through hospice care, and just some weird hauntings and scary aspects to that too. But otherwise, I think that this film is very, like, tautly paced, impressively well directed, and it has some genuinely good scares in it. It really kind of got to me. I will say the central performances, all the performances are largely very strong. There are times when it is like the banter between the two hosts where they're like, all right, let's get back into character. And it's just kind of like a bit cliche or a little bit cringy of like, all right. And then they have to go into like their podcast voice, which I don't think we really do, because once we stop recording, we laugh more and we're dumber, but we sound the same. And we're drinking we're probably drinking more after this. But it just felt a little bit too like the facade of them rolling into this character that they play or perform as on their podcast. I was like, it's interesting, but I'm like, it's kind of grating at times. But overall, I think this film, it's not going to be for everyone. It is very slow, but I think it is deliberately done to really heighten the scares and the suspense, because there are times where this movie was just had me on edge. So it's one of my top films of 2026 so far. It's not number one. I still have Bone Temple at number one, but it's up there with like the Send Help and the Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. It's a really solid horror film, and I would recommend to go check it out because it does exist now within that realm of like Late Night with the Devil, a small independent horror film that I didn't really have much expectations for, but now I'm like, I can't wait to rewatch this movie in years to come and probably show this to my wife. I saw this by myself. I think she might actually like this. So it's a really good, interesting horror film that finally got to me. So I definitely recommend it.
Well, I planned on seeing Hoppers this week. I think I talked about it on last week's episode. And then stayed up until 6 a.m., and then went to a St. Patty's Day party at like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was going to try and fit Hoppers in between there. That didn't happen. We were also going to try and watch Mutiny on the Bounty, the original 1935 version of the movie. That didn't happen. We just weren't in the mood for it today. We wanted to watch Ted Season 2 and drink and just talk shit and have fun.
Because Corey has seen it and I hadn't. He was like, all right, we're just going to watch through of it, some of it.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. That, and you mentioned Tires when we were watching Ted 2. Just some great comedy, throwaway, like sitcom-y aspects. Such a fun show.
Yeah, so I planned on watching more this week. Didn't happen. But one thing I did watch in my final kind of push for the Oscars was Song Sung Blue, which is the Oscar-nominated movie for Kate Hudson for Best Leading Actress. Comes from Craig Brewer, and it centers on Kate Hudson and Hugh Jackman as Lightning and Thunder, which is based on a true story of Milwaukee husband and wife who are a Neil Diamond tribute actor, Neil Diamond interpreters, as they say in the movie, not impersonators. and a very interesting and a very wild true story that you had kind of teased when you reviewed this movie maybe a month or so ago. But it is like it's a pretty feel good movie in a general sense. Like, this is a movie I could show to like my family or recommend to a lot of people, especially like in the Midwest too. There's just like a certain, like, Kate Hudson's accent is very like Midwest coded, you know. So I think it works in that sense. I think Kate Hudson, to speak on her performance, is really good in the movie. I don't know that I would have nominated her over some other people this year, but I think she's good, and I think Hugh Jackman's good, and their chemistry together is great. They both obviously are, they have good voices, and they sing well together, and I just think that it's a movie that, I mean, I like Neil Diamond, so I enjoy listening to his music, and they do play one of my favorite songs from him, which is Brother Love's Traveling Salvation Show. They played it in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I'm happy that they played it in this movie because it's really good. You get Sweet Caroline in there. You get all the hits. That's kind of a joke in the movie too, of like playing Sweet Caroline. He's like, I want to fucking play that song that everyone knows that song. I want to play Suleiman.
Yeah, Suleiman.
And they're like, we don't know that song, and he's like, I want to fucking play Suleiman. But a good movie. I think like there are some really interesting real life things with just people getting hit by cars that it's like, wow, that happened, and then like it almost happened again.
Yeah. Struck by lightning twice.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. I think, like, I don't know, it's weird because obviously a lot of this happened in real life, but some of it is, like, emotionally manipulative in some ways, where it's kind of like using that a lot to be like, man, I really fucking feel for these people, but I don't know, I guess I didn't connect with it as much as I hoped I would. But still a solid movie. It's on Peacock right now. I think, again, Kate Hudson's good, and I do like kind of how the movie wraps up and everything. So I'd recommend it if you're trying to fill out your Oscar watch through. As the awards are tonight, it's worth a watch. I think Craig Brewer does a fine job with the movie. Good performances, good music. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm happy you checked it out, especially in preparation. It does still feel, even as someone who, I might like the movie a little bit more than you, but it's just interesting to see that Kate Hudson is the one, like, kind of trophy bearer for Song Sung Blue of being the only one nominated for that film. And I'm like, yeah, she was good, but I'm like, I still struggle, I think, to be like, was she good enough to warrant the nomination? That just kind of feels a bit much to me as someone who likes the movie, and I had a good time. It is a bit, like, it's too crazy of a story, even if it is true, to where I'm like, no fucking way this is happening again. But it's a pretty good feel-good. It's a movie that I could watch with my family, similar to what you said, or show my mom. A movie that I don't want to watch with my family or show my mom is Anora, which was obviously the Best Picture winner from the 97th Academy Awards, last year's Academy Awards. Among that, it also won Best Director, Best Leading Actress for Mikey Madison, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Editing. We talked about it a lot around this time last year, and just kind of our mixed reactions to it overall, but also the fact that it won Best Picture, kind of our reactions to that were a little bit kind of wonky, I guess. I like this movie more than Corey does. I don't hate it. It's still, even when it won, I was fine with it winning Best Picture. It's still, even on a rewatch, and I'll get into kind of my thoughts on it and how those may have changed, on a rewatch, it still is a very interesting Best Picture winner. Like, it just, like, I watched this movie with my wife. She had never seen it, so we sat down and we watched it together. And she's not as well-versed in, like, the Academy Awards or the Oscars or Best Pictures and stuff like that. But, like, when she thinks Best Picture, similar to me, I think King's Speech. Like, I think movies like that. And she immediately, like, that's what she thinks of, too, because it was, like, the one rated R movie her parents let her watch because it's the King's Speech. But that's what she thinks of when she thinks of a Best Picture. And I looked at her, I'm like, isn't it weird that this is what won Best Picture? Like, it doesn't feel like it. And she's like, it doesn't. Like, I could never have predicted that. And not to say that this movie's not good. I do think that this movie is good, and I have a more kind of developed my appreciation for this film. I remember when we first talked about it last year, obviously this film is about a young stripper kind of falling in love with this Russian oligarch and getting married, and then dude's family catches wind of it, and they're like, nope, annul that shit. You cannot date a butterfly of the night. You can't date a stripper. Like, this is not okay. You can't be married. She's after your money. Like, we need to call it off. And I like some of the emotional aspects to it. I love Yora Borisov in this movie. He is a fucking godsend. He is such a great supporting performance. I love him so much. But I remember one of the things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way is I thought Mikey Madison and Mark Eidelstein were both so unlikable. I since have changed a little bit on that. I don't think Mikey Madison is unlikable. There's still scenes where I'm like, oh my god, you're screaming so much right now. This hurts. Please shut up. But I think as that character, it was easy to root for her on this rewatch. I still think Mark Eidelstein, and he's supposed to kind of be a villain, but it still is just grating to watch. One, the personality of the character he's playing, because the performance is good, but the personality of this character is so grating and so childish and immature. And then when he leaves for half the movie, randomly pops back up, and he has this massive kind of heel turn of just like this puppy going to his parents to kind of obey and make right for his fuck up, and he just has the tail tucked between his legs. I was like, okay, you're not giving me enough here. But I do think the performances are great still overall. There's so much good comedy in this movie, mostly when that Mark Eidelstein's character kind of leaves and Vanya kind of leaves and he's on the run, and Mikey Madison and these three guys have to try and track him down. There's a part when they're interrogating Mikey Madison or trying to corral her in their home, and she kicks one of the guys in the nose, and he is massively concussed for the rest of the movie. And they're just he's like, I need to go to the hospital. Bitch broke my nose. And they're like, no, we gotta find Vanya. Shut the fuck up. And there's a part where they're just driving, and it's dead silent in the car, and he's sitting in the passenger seat, the front passenger seat, and you just see his eyes just inflate, and he's and then he's just throwing up through his hands, and I was cackling. There's sometimes throughout this movie that I laughed a lot more on this rewatch than I was really expecting, because the movie is kind of surprisingly funny. I still love the ending of it. It's just, I like this movie more, and it's easier to watch. It's still just kind of interesting that this is what last year's Best Picture winner was. It still hasn't convinced me of it getting that award. Even as someone who does like this movie a good deal, appreciate it. It is a champion of independent filmmaking. Sean Baker wants to make every movie about sex workers and sex for the rest of his career, seemingly. He made Florida Project, right?
I love that movie.
I think that is his best film still.
Yeah.
I like Honora more, but I think Florida Project, you did it. Red Rocket, I don't love that one either. So, this is an interesting movie. I will say, I listed off the awards that it won that night, last year's Oscars. It won Best Editing. That is bullshit to me. There are a couple of really well edited argument scenes and just cutting back and forth. That works really well. But I think, even on a rewatch, the bulk of scenes are 5 minutes too long. This movie's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It should be an hour and 50. I don't think that the story that this film is telling is justified its runtime. It doesn't work for me. It gets a little long in the tooth, and my wife was just like, oh my god, how much is fucking, how is there still more? What's left? Get there. Find Vanya. Get to the end. What's going on? So, the movie takes too much time for how little of story, and I think with that, and pacing being a massive aspect as to some of my negatives with this movie, I don't understand how this wins Best Editing. And you can even kind of bleed that into Best Original Screenplay. There's probably problems in the script if a movie is feeling this drawn out. Still, this is coming from someone that likes this movie largely. Interesting Best Picture winner from last year. I'm really excited for this year's Best Picture winner to be a movie that we are both likely going to be really thrilled about. Regardless if it's your pick or my pick for Best Picture, we're just going to be happy with. And the films that we're kind of going between for Best Picture will feel more like a Best Picture type movie for me. It's just, this movie is a interesting kind of case study of what I like in film and what I like in Oscar films, and how I don't think Honora always satisfies either of those kind of categories for me. So I'm gonna, maybe if I win, that's what you have to do. If I win this year's Oscar ballot pool between you and I make you watch Honora again. Yeah, you're thrilled.
I famously do not like this movie.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people really love it. It was a lot of people's favorite movie from last year. Everyone's like, this is one of my favorite Best Picture winners of the past however many years, and I don't get it. I still don't understand. A year removed, I've sat and I've thought about it. I've talked with people about it at work and just with friends and everything that love this movie, and just had good conversations. And I hate all of the characters in this movie. It's about a sad stripper that is still sad at the end of it, and I don't like the ending.
She's not sad at the beginning. She's not sad.
You don't think she's sad at the beginning of that movie?
She's happy. She's doing what she's doing.
She's happy just being a prostitute?
Yeah, but she's good at it. She's good at what she's done.
You think she's satisfied?
I don't know if she's satisfied, but she's not, like, sad. Like, she probably she's probably lacking human connection, and she's pursuing that in her work. But granted, that kind of connection that she's getting in her work is very one-dimensional, because it's, hey, here's my tits, give me money. But I think it does kind of work out. That's why I love the ending so much, is you get the flip of that, of, oh, now that she's getting paid, basically paid off to, hey, leave us alone, go be lonely, go be your own, distant away from us. You've done your service, and now it hurts her. And I'm like, that is a good kind of full circle moment where she's basically in that final moment. Yura Borisov hands her the ring that he was able to sneak off from the family and be like, hey, here's all this money that's kind of wrapped up in this 4-carat engagement ring. She's basically paid into having sex, and in that moment when she's getting paid off and she's bringing pleasure to someone, she breaks down and cries. I'm like, that works well for me. So she doesn't start sad. I will counter that. She does not start sad in this movie. Maybe she's a little drained because she didn't buy milk one night and her roommate's giving her shit. But I
think it's very much, to me at least, it's putting on the persona of a stripper, of being the, hey, I'm gonna, pleasure you for the night, or be the stripper for the night. But when you walk away from that, she's still sad, I think. Even at the beginning of the movie, I think it's like, I'm not really doing what I want to do. Like, I'm just doing this and making you happy, but I'm not happy. Okay. And towards the end of the movie, she's still sad and breaks down and cries, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I realize I am in the minority. I understand that. I don't like this movie. But I guess if you win, I will rewatch it, and
I think that might have to be the bet. There has to be a movie though, because like I've started going back and watching movies that I hated, and now I'm not. I guess Spring Breakers would. If you want to have to watch Spring Breakers, I hate Spring Breakers. I fucking can't stand that movie. But like I've gone back and like rewatched Tar, and now I like that movie a lot.
Yeah,
so
we'll figure out something.
Spring Breakers would have to be.
We'll figure out something if I win. But anyways. The last thing that we watched this week, that you actually watched the last couple episodes with me here, was Taboo, which is a show that is created by Stephen Knight, along with Tom Hardy and his dad, Chips Hardy. Didn't know that his dad helped create it, but Stephen Knight, I obviously have talked about Peaky Blinders. He was a creator and writer on that, and I was just in the mood for that. And I remember in 2017, I remember recording episodes, like the first 2 or 3 episodes of Taboo on my TV, on like DirecTV, DVR, being like, I want to watch Taboo because it looks really cool. And then I just never watched it for some reason. And then you recommended it, and after just Peaky Blinders watch, I was like, all right, well, I know Mason likes it. I'm interested in Peaky Blinders and Stephen Knight. And I love this show. It's only 8 episodes. It was just 1 season. I wish there would be fucking 8 more seasons by now because it's really good. But Tom Hardy is the main character. He plays James Delaney, who he comes back to London in 1812 after being in Africa, and he's trying to rebuild his father's shipping empire, and basically dealing with the crown, and dealing with the East India Trading Company, and with the Americans, who are all battling over this little strip of land called Nootka Sound, and how that strip of land is so influential for trading with the Chinese for tea. And there's, trading gunpowder and trading all this different stuff kind of in that time. And it's just so engaging. There's so many different parties at play. It has a little bit of a Pirates of the Caribbean feel with the East India Trading Company. Not only that, but like Jonathan Pryce, isn't it? As, he was Elizabeth Swann's dad in that movie. So that's fun. And you get Tom Hollander, who played Lord Beckett in Pirates of the Caribbean. He's a chemist in this show. A
lot of overlap with Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, and even just like the time period and the feel of the costumes and the pirate ships and everything like that, it kind of has that feel. A great supporting cast too. Una Chaplin's really good as Tom Hardy's half-sister. You get Jessie Buckley, who may walk away with an Oscar tonight. She's really good in a supporting role. Franca Potent, Stephen Graham, Michael Kelly, Jefferson Hall. Just really good cast filling it out here. I love the look of the show. I love the feel of it. It really did give me like Peaky Blinders, but in a very separate way, but just the Stephen Knight flavor.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of the same examination of characters in a very different time period. And I just love... Like, Tom Hardy just commands the screen anytime he's fucking... You mentioned it when we were watching it here. Just anytime he's there, he's a powerful, dominant dude. He's not taking shit from anybody.
And he's rarely in this show raising his voice. He always has the same demeanor when he talks. Yep. And it's just like, he's like with being one of the more quiet speaking characters, he's still so very much in charge. I'm like, God, he's so fucking cool.
Yeah, and it's very different from Alfie Solomons from Peaky Blinders. It's not like a rinse and repeat performance here. He is just really solid. I really just loved watching it. Thank you again for recommending it to me. And you know, like I said, in 2017, I planned to watch it. I just never did. So it's on Peacock right now. It's 8 episodes. They're each like 50 minutes long. So I got through it this week and really happy I did, just to kind of like close out my Peaky Blinders kind of watch through in a way. So much like you recommended the show to me, I will again recommend Peaky Blinders to you, because if you like this show, if you like Taboo and haven't seen Peaky Blinders, I think you'll really like that. Just Stephen Knight, I really like the way that he approaches stories. I like the way that just it I don't know, the season just feels like a whole, and even with Peaky Blinders too, like each season feels like a whole story combined together. This one feels like it could be complete. I would love more.
Yeah, exactly.
I want more seasons, but even here, I'm just like, all right, it's been like 9 years since we've had it, so
probably not coming back.
It's probably not happening, and I feel okay with where it ended. So really love this. I would recommend this so heavely.
Yeah, I didn't know this, but I saw that you listed here that I was nominated for 2 Emmys, one for Best Score and Best Special Visual Effects. Feels a bit redundant there, special visual. But I will say this score is so awesome in this show. It reminds me of like the Guy Ritchie Sherlock score mixed with Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, it has that same kind of that like tinging sound. It's just really cool. I love it. I'm happy you watched the show, and it was actually really nice getting to catch the tail end of it. I was like, God, I kind of want to rewatch it now. Like I have it on Blu-ray. I love this show. So happy you watched it. Kind of interesting way to kind of close out your Stephen Knight universe. Yeah. Even though they're not connected, but a good kind of through line with Stephen Knight being the creative on those. Moving into new releases, what we have coming out on March 20th at the tail end of this week. We have a couple of really big releases that I'm really excited about. I already have my tickets. I'm going to do a double feature one day, but Project Hail Mary, directed by Chris Miller and Phil Lord, directors of 21 and 22 Jump Street, the Lego Movie. Weirdly enough, Cloudy with a Chance Meatballs films, which I love those fucking movies. This is starring Ryan Gosling, Sandra Hüller, and I've tried to look more into the cast just because I finished the book this past week, and I'm like, who's going to play this role? Who's going to play this role? I think J.K. Simmons is a part of this cast, potentially. I saw a report somewhere. I don't know in what capacity, but regardless, I can't wait. This is following Ryan Gosling as science teacher Ryland Grace, who wakes up alone on a spaceship light years from Earth. As his memory slowly kind of returns to him, he uncovers a mission to stop this mysterious substance that's been killing Earth's sun, and to save Earth in whole. It's an unexpected friendship that also may be kind of it's linked or hinted at in the trailers with Rocky, this potential alien life form. But I love the book. I can't wait to see this movie. The book is one of the easiest reads. It's just so fun. And I keep seeing every critic that has seen this movie just say it's one of the best movies that they've seen in a long time, and it's easily going to be in the Best Picture conversation for 2027, for the 2026 movies. But I can't fucking wait. It's going to be a spectacle. 2.5 hours, and I'm like, this movie could be 3.5 hours, and I'd be thrilled. I can't wait. We also have Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Wish they would have just picked Ready or Not 2 or Ready or Not, Here I Come. Don't need both. But this is the sequel to Ready or Not, which is also coming from that same directorial team of Radio Silence, Matt Bettinelli, Olpin, and Tyler Gillett, starring Samara Weaving. Got Catherine Newton, Elijah Wood, Sarah Michelle Gellar. David Cronenberg weirdly is in this, and Kevin Durand. And it just looks like a continuation from the first one. We see that after the events of that first movie, she's handcuffed in a hospital bed, getting kind of examined, watched over, make sure she's in good health, but then she gets taken back to another more larger scale, like, hey, you fucked up a family, a very important family, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to run that first movie back. We're going to hunt you down. And whoever wins, whoever kills you is going to basically commandeer rule over all of the world. And I'm like, okay, don't know if I need this. But again, reviews have been starting to pour in for this film. I'm really excited just based on the early reactions to this movie. I love the first Ready or Not. I never really thought I'd need a sequel to it, but I'm going to go see it. I also love Catherine Newton, so can't wait to see her addition to this cast in this new film. So that's going to be a weird double feature. Also, the movie Corey's most excited about this week, The Pout Pout Fish, directed by Ricard Cuso and Rio Harrington, which I looked up their other features, and they look insane. Not to say that this movie looks really, like, high budget, great studio. It just looks kind of It looks like it would have been straight to DVD. It looks like they couldn't just re-release Shark Tales, so they're like, you know what? We'll make another weird fish movie. But this is Nick Offerman in the voice cast, as well as Amy Sedaris and Miranda Otto. Two aquatic misfits embark on an impossible journey to save their home. I mean, that's kind of, aside from the aquatic aspect, it's similar to Project Hail Mary. But I'm not going to see that movie. I don't have really any expectations or excitement for it, but I have seen cutouts at the theaters, and those are hilarious to me. The Pout Pout Fish.
They're funny.
Nick Offerman fish. But yeah, a good release week, and then you also have the Pout Pout Fish. So if you wanted to really check that out, I feel like that'd be a good drunk watch unless you have kids.
Yeah. No, I kind of have a busy week coming up. I'm going to North Carolina this week to watch the opening 4 days of March Madness. Sitting with my cousins in North Carolina, drinking beer, watching 48 hours straight of basketball, and that's going to be fucking awesome. We've wanted to do it for years. Those are my, probably 4 favorite days of the year for me, is just 12 hours each day of basketball, and I love it. I can't wait. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to watch as much this week, but I will try and see Project Hail Mary for sure, just because everybody has just been glazing this movie and the book, and nobody will shut the fuck up about it. So I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. I'm excited for it for sure. I like Lord and Miller a lot. I like their approach, just different, whether it's animated or the 21 Jump Street movies are so fucking funny.
I love their humor.
Yeah, it's great. So I'm excited for that. Ready or Not 2, I'm also kind of excited for. I think I'm kind of in the right expectation where I'm like, all right, if you're even as good as the first one, even a little bit less, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Get a fun new cast, get some cool kills. I'm cool with that movie.
Yeah, and then moving into a physical media roundup, I sneakily bought a lot of movies this week. With Project Hail Mary coming out at the end of this week, I got really excited by finishing the book. That book being written by Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian. I rebought The Martian on 4K and Blu-ray. I had a standard Blu-ray kind of version of it, but I want a better release of the film, so I bought The Martian on 4K and Blu-ray. I also went and bought Boyhood on Blu-ray Criterion, just because I really like that movie. That's another movie that I always kind of associate with the Oscars, especially the early 20-teens Oscars. Also bought Red Eye. After talking so much about Cillian Murphy, I feel like in the past couple of weeks, I haven't seen that, and Rachel McAdams as well with Send Help this year. I've really wanted to check that movie out. I believe that one's directed by Wes Craven, and I've heard really good things about the film. It's just something I've never seen, so I'm really excited to check that one out. And then I also wanted to watch just a big, stupid sci-fi spectacle, so I bought Ready Player One on 4K Blu-ray, which I decently like that movie. I don't know. I've thought about reading that book now that I've seen the movie, because I might like the book more. I don't know. And I've always heard great things about the story of it, and then the movie was like, oh yeah, it's all right. Pretty good. It's fun. Yeah. But I'm excited to rewatch it, because I've only seen it the one time.
Coming out this week, we have the 2025 version of Anaconda, which is pretty fun. Check that out. It's a good movie.
Yeah, that's all right.
Good Boy, Is This Thing On? The Housemaid, Return to Silent Hill.
Oh, I know you're getting that.
Yeah, I'll get Is This Thing On. Absolutely. I'm going to buy that movie 100%. I love that movie. David, We Bury the Dead, and then a few library titles on 4K, Mimic and K2, and Dead Again. And then moving into movie news, just our last little kind of awards roundup stuff that we'll talk about leading into the Oscars. We had the WGA, the Writers Guild Awards. Went the way that you would think. Sinners got original screenplay. One Battle After Another got adapted screenplay. The Pit got drama series. The Studio got comedy series. And then Dying for Sex got limited series. I don't know if Adolescence won anything here, but yeah, I mean, kind of, again, just for as far as Oscar talk goes, Sinners for original, One Battle for adapted. That's kind of been the talk for a while, so not too many surprises there. Excited to cover the Oscars tonight. Into some other things from this week, just a few trailers for some horror movies that came out, or that are coming out this year, for Hokum and Obsession. Two pretty good trailers that I liked, and I'm very excited. I think Hokum was on both of our top 10 anticipated for the year. Love that new trailer. Obsession, I'm really interested in. Disclosure Day, Steven Spielberg's new movie, also had a new trailer. Cannot wait for that movie. I feel like that's going to be a really special movie. I don't know. I just have a good feeling about that one.
I keep seeing speculation of what if it's just a quiet, very under the radar sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which would be okay, he followed up one of his sci-fi classics. I'd be fine with it, but I also am just so excited that this looks so separate and original and freaky. The trailers have really sold me on that one.
Yeah, some great news out of Universal Pictures, and at a time when so many studios are like, we're going to do more limited streaming or limited theatrical releases. Universal and Donna Langley, the CCO, they decided that they are going to, in 2026, have at least 5 weekends in theaters, and then in 2027 have at least 7 weekends in theaters for theatrical releases. And I fucking love that. That's awesome. It's just, I don't know, we were talking about it before, but like the legs on a movie are so important. Like for Zootopia 2 becoming the highest grossing movie domestically of last year, that doesn't happen if it's in release for 3 weeks and then goes on to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Like it beat out a Minecraft movie by having multiple weeks in theaters and from being in theaters from Thanksgiving till mid-March. Like that's crazy. And it's just the success of some movies, and it's so important for them to just stay in theaters for a while. So I love that Universal's doing it.
Yeah.
Also a great sign if Christopher Nolan moves from Warner Brothers to your studio, starting with Oppenheimer, and is like, I like what you guys are doing here.
Yeah, maybe just continue to make Christopher Nolan happy. Then your studio will likely stay happy for a long time. But to go back to that Zootopia 2 point, when you have a theater or a movie in theaters for so long, a longer run, and then you make that switch or that shift to a streaming platform, it's gonna do gangbusters on that streaming platform. This was one of the first times I really noticed it, but one of my coworkers she has young kids, was rapidly like, we can't wait to rewatch Zootopia 2. It's coming to streaming this week. And it's like, yeah, that movie's been out for a long time in theaters, but they can't wait to watch it at home now. Having a good release window, a good theatrical release window is so crucial, obviously, to the box office potential of a film and for theaters in general. Zootopia 2 has been selling for weeks and it's been doing super well. So it's only going to benefit the theater industry, and it's crazy that it's taken so long in terms of we're 5-ish years removed from COVID and all those pandemic policies, and now we're starting to see studios actually finally make a step towards reversing a lot of those restrictive policies of shorter release windows. This is a big win. This is awesome. Go Universal. Right now you're vying for my favorite studio right
100%.
now, even with just this. This is awesome. I'm thrilled by this news.
Yeah, it's awesome. Some other movie news. We did talk about some G.I. Joe projects last week. Some other news is coming out that Paramount has passed on a pitch from Max Landis, who again we kind of thought was canceled, I guess, and maybe still is. I don't know. Whatever. But he had a pitch that kind of focused on Cobra ruling the world and G.I. Joe being dismissed as a conspiracy theory. And they're still considering the other pitch from Danny McBride. Nothing's been greenlit yet. Still kind of waiting on official word from that. Just a few other little things. The Oscars are tonight. Matt Berry was announced as the announcer of the awards tonight, which is cool. I don't know to the extent of what he'll do, really, but
I can't fuck. I'm guessing he's gonna be the voiceover, like kind of transitioning from award to award. And I love Matt Berry. He has such a fucking hilarious voice, and he's great in What We Do in the Shadows, among other things. But that was more of like I put that in the notes because I'm like, I love Matt Berry. This is so cool. It's making me more excited for already my favorite day of the year. So we'll get to listen to him a little bit later on tonight, actually in a couple hours here. So
yeah. And then as far as the next Lord of the Rings movie, The Hunt for Gollum, Kate Winslet is set to star alongside Andy Serkis in that movie. There's been teases about Elijah Wood and Ian McKellen coming back as those characters. Nothing like officially confirmed, I don't think, but I'm curious about that. I don't know. I don't need more Lord of the Rings movies necessarily, but it could be good.
I'm excited with Kate Winslet adding on. I'm fucking thrilled.
She an elf or something?
I
maybe?
don't know.
She feels like she could be an elf.
What Elder? No, I was gonna say Elderon. That's not.
Elrond is Hugo Weaving.
She
feels like she would be.
What's Liv Tyler's character's name?
Arwen.
That's what I'm thinking. I can picture Kate Winslet as an elf. I love Kate Winslet so much. She's fantastic in Mare of Easttown. She's fantastic in everything she's in. And I think that's a really good kind of big star-studded lead to a new Lord of the Rings film, especially when it's like, I don't know much about the story. I don't know if we're going to really follow a lot of characters aside from Gollum. I think Aragorn. I don't remember. I haven't watched Lord of the Rings in too long. I think I'm phasing out.
Rewatch it.
I should, but I don't know who this film really follows or the story follows, so I'm excited to see kind of new breath of fresh air into this franchise. I'm excited.
You know what? That's my... You mentioned if you win the Oscars, I have to rewatch Anora. If I win, I want you to rewatch Lord of the Rings trilogy.
All of them?
Yep.
Fuck
it
you,
doesn't have to
dude.
be in like it doesn't have to be in like a week. It can be over the course of a few weeks or a month.
I like those movies, but I've never I love.
That's why I want you to rewatch them.
I love Two Towers, and I love Fellowship of the Ring. Actually, Return of the King, I think, is okay at best.
That's why I want you to rewatch them.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think you made more safer picks than I did this year. And
Who made more safer? I made the right picks. I'm gonna win. I made the best picks.
You're not doing shit.
I think I'm gonna kick your ass this year. I think honestly, there's gonna be two. I think if I do really good, you're also doing really good because we only disagreed on 4.
Right, that's the thing.
So
the other ones, I think you made safer picks. So we'll see.
What do you mean? Sinners for best picture is not a safer pick than One Battle After Another.
I think Sean Penn. I think Sinners is.
I think Sean Penn's just the best performance from last year. That's not safer.
I think it's the odds-on favorites. I'll say.
I think Delroy Lindo is probably going to be the one that wins best supporting actor. Watch our Oscar prediction video. It was only like 40 minutes long, but it's a fun watch. I think I watched it. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's all right. So we'll see.
It's all right.
I'm gonna make you watch the extended editions of Lord of the Rings.
No, that's not necessary.
Dude, fucking do it. They're great. Fuck you. Anyways, the last few little things that we have. The Superman Man of Tomorrow movie coming out next year. Aaron Pierre is confirmed to have joined the cast as Jon Stewart. We'll see him in the Lanterns show coming up this summer. So excited for that, but also I get nervous because I just want a Superman movie, and then there's always just weeks and weeks of like this person joined. I'm like, can we just have a Superman movie like without anybody else being in the movie?
I think the time has passed on that. Sadly, I feel like most of these DC films, at least at the start, are going to be really crossover centered.
I hate it. I really don't like it.
I think it's going to be a bit much, but I'm excited for Aaron Pierre.
I like him a lot.
Lanterns is really up there in terms of my expectations and my anticipation for any DC project. Like, I have no idea what that's going to be like, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for his performance for sure. Some casting that we had, or not we, but like the internet, I feel like had been casting for a long time is Catherine Hahn as Mother Gothel in the live-action Tangled movie. This movie was happening for a bit, and then it wasn't happening, and then it came back. And
you could die. You don't need it.
Tangled is great. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to like that as much as I did when I watched it, but it's a solid animated Disney movie. But I think Catherine Hahn is a good choice for Mother Gothel. I really like that. I think she has the flair, the kind of dramatic.
Watch the fucking Disney Plus Agatha all
along. Yeah,
watch that. That's Mother Gothel right there. She's got it.
Yeah, she's really good. So I'm excited about that casting. The last thing is the new Oceans movie prequel that is starring Bradley Cooper and Margot Robbie. Initially, it was going to be directed by Lee Isaac Chung, but he dropped out. Bradley Cooper is now in talks to direct the movie. It's a prequel set in 1960s Europe. I think that could be pretty fun. And we both like Bradley Cooper's other directorial movies. I just talked about Is This Thing On? That's a great movie. So, I think that could be a pretty fun avenue for him to go down and not... I want him to get an Oscar really bad someday, but it'll be kind of nice to have him, if he does end up doing this, to just kind of focus on a movie that's this isn't an Oscar movie, but just a fun heist action adventure movie.
Have fun, have some flair, show us something cool. I think it'd be nice to give him a little bit of break from movies like Stars Born and Maestro, more art heavy or Academy Award friendly type fare. Go into something a little bit more mass appealing or a little bit more marketable. So I would love to see that. Bradley Cooper's fucking awesome. He's one of my favorite celebrities, I think. The only thing I hate about him is that he's a big Philadelphia Eagles fan. But other than that, he is a perfect human being. Anyways, that's kind of going to be it for us today. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Have fun watching the Oscars tonight. Fill out your ballots. Do all that fun stuff. Get drunk as hell. And when Sinner wins Best Picture, just know that Mason got that right over Corey. But when Sean Penn loses Best Supporting Actor, just know I'm really pissed about it. Anyways, follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more in-depth movie reviews and movie news. Watch our predictions, like I mentioned, and stuff like that. But regardless, no matter what, watch the Oscars in film. It's not just about what's on screen. It's also about who's next to you sitting in the theater.
For Mason and I at Slate Night, that's a wrap.